Welcome, dear students. The current session is on the recency of World English and the future of English. I hope and expect by the end of this session, you would be able to understand the recent status of English all across the globe, and you would also be able to understand what are the further processes of its expansions through the times in the world. Well, my dear students, people have been predicting the emergence of English as a global language for at least 2 centuries. Claims have been made largely with the expansion of the British Empire, and then, through the processes of colonizing America, and then expansion of, American political and social power and its power of knowledge that has taken over all the world. It is expected and it has been predicted through the times that English is going to have a status of a global language. However, when we talk of its, status as in the genuine sense, as a global phenomenon, I would say it's something very recent. Today, if we look at the world, English is used as a first language in the USA, Canada, Britain, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and a scattering of a few other territories. In fact, it is the official language or the primary medium of communication in such domains such as government, law, or broadcasting, education, etc. in many countries. English has also now, attained some kind of special administrative status in over 70 countries such as Ghana, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, India, Singapore, Vanuatu. Everywhere, English is used as a language that is used for official purposes or for, official communication. English in the recent times has achieved a special role when it is made a priority, in many of the countries, as a language of their, their foreign policy. For foreign, affairs, the language that is used in many countries in the world today, it is English. Sometimes it doesn't have an official status in some countries, but, because people come across this language through media that is overpowered by the United States of America, this language comes to the whole of the world and people learn it. In fact, if we look at today's world, over 100 countries treat English as a foreign language, chiefly the countries in Europe, Asia, North Africa, and Latin America are using English as a foreign language. The very term global language itself, thus has a genuine application, since the year 2000, it is regularly being used for referring to English. However, if we trace the history back, probably we would realize that this current status that it has gathered through the last, say, 15 to 20 years from 2000 onwards, it did not have that if we further go 50 years back in the history. When it comes to the use of English as a lingua franca, actually what we need to consider is that with the changes in the socio-political scenario of the whole world after the First and the Second World War, when the countries, they needed to come closer, and they needed certain platforms for all those political agendas and for the political discussions. For the first time, probably the need was felt that there should be a lingua franca, a language that would connect all the countries, internationally, a language that would be used as a medium to communicate with people from other countries, so that the socio-political issues of the world could be resolved. So in this status, I think English emerged as a lingua franca, and it actually gathered a very strong position from 1950s onwards. Actually, this was a result of that whole post-war demand for, regularizing, the interactions amongst the countries. And if we look at the actual number of people in the United Nations when it was established, the number of countries that joined it was far lesser. However, because every country was conscious that they needed to join this international platform to give voice to, their opinions, to share them with the rest of the world, so the number increased very speedily. And of course, with this increase in number, the use of English here also expanded. So, for example, the United Nations had only 51 member states when it began in 1945. But if we look at the statistics of 2002, 191, states had joined it. Of course, the consequence is increasing reliance on the concept of a working language. Yes, this is the status of the recent status, I would say, of English language on all the international platforms. Because the other possibility is only that multiple or multi-way translations could be done, which of course are not only very expensive, but also they are practically very, very difficult to do. So, for the practical purposes of connectivity of nations, for connectivity of states, for connectivity of people from divergent areas of the world, English language has emerged as a medium that connects people. And I think when we look at the future dimensions of it, it seems it would continue to do so.